For some perspective on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, good morning. So we just heard Sam there lay out some of these big questions, legal questions about how this is going to work. I just want to start by asking, what do you think a trial like this looks like?
Well, we're talking about a superseding indictment that has a tremendous amount of detail. We call it a speaking indictment. It really tells a story. So what we see, this is going back 25 years, this large-scale narco-terrorism organization utilizing the government as basically a criminal enterprise. So those are the allegations. What I would expect to see, millions of pages of discovery that will be turned over by prosecutors to the defense. And also some of the details in this indictment, specific conversations, specific incidents, tells me that we're likely to see some informants who may be testifying in court.
It appears like we're covering some perhaps new legal ground here, questions that maybe we haven't answered before, haven't answered in a long time. What do you see as some of the challenges that lay in the way before we even get to a trial, some of the questions that might have to be answered?
Well, there's no question that Maduro is going to challenge this arrest. He's going to challenge it on the basis of violating international law, due process, as well as what's called head of state immunity. Basically, can't bring a criminal case against a head of state for executing their duties. So all of those are going to be threshold questions. I would expect whomever his defense attorneys are to be bringing those motions in the very near future after today's proceeding.
Part of the U.S.'s answer to that, right, is sort of that he's not recognized as the head of state by the United States. Is that right? Is that how we answer that?
Yes, so that is right. And we're looking back at the Noriega case. So this is, in 1989, a case brought against the leader of Panama, who was not an elected official. So the argument is slightly different. But the question is whether or not immunity will actually attach. And so as of 2019, Maduro was not recognized as the leader. So this is something that's going to be kind of a new question. Noriega's challenges were unsuccessful, but that's a slightly different factual scenario, and it will require the courts to make that determination.
You said a moment ago, whoever his attorneys are, we don't know right now. Can you even begin to imagine who takes on a case like this, what type of expertise they need to have?
So I would imagine that there would be a lot of lawyers who have expertise in novel constitutional issues that would be chomping at the bit to actually take this case on, because this is such a consequential case for some of these issues. But there, as Sam pointed out, there could be some challenges based on perhaps frozen assets or the fact that there are sanctions, and whether or not an American law firm is going to be able to do business with Maduro without special authorization from the Department of Treasury. So there's some issues here, but we might see that he has assigned counsel. It's something I'm going to be looking for at today's proceeding.
One of the things that we've heard invoked by the Secretary of State and a few others when it comes to the U.S.'s argument is the idea of self-defense here. How does that work in a case like this?
Well, so there's two different reasons that you keep hearing about the reasoning behind this operation. One is to get ahead of a challenge that Maduro will inevitably bring, which is that this arrest was illegal under international law. And one of the threshold questions will be, what was the purpose of the operation? Was it law enforcement to bring back a fugitive? Self-defense is going to relate to whether or not Congress needed to be informed of this or approval. Is this an act of war, or was this a law enforcement operation? So these are some of the questions that will have to be answered, whether or not this is the president's powers under Article 2 or congressional input was needed.
All right, Misty Marris, thank you very much. Always great to have you with us.
Thank you.